Okay, so have you heard about this movie? It's like a dystopian future
Okay.
where this like tyrannical god king needs a serum from unborn children to survive.
Wow.
Yeah, and the whole world is like totally based on Hindu mythology. It's called Kalki 2898 AD, and it's wild.
Yeah. The way they've taken this ancient prophecy of Kalki, the 10th avatar of Vishnu, and, thrown it into this futuristic setting,
It's pretty out there.
yeah. And it makes for such an interesting blend of mythology and sci-fi.
Definitely ambitious.
Yeah.
And speaking of ambitious, did you know this movie had a budget of like 600 crore?
No way.
That's insane, right?
It's the most expensive Indian film ever.
So, like, what's the plot all about?
Well, so it actually starts way, way back in 3102 BC
Okay.
with Ashwatthama, this warrior from the Mahabharata.
Oh, hold on. For those of us who might not remember every detail of the Mahabharata,
Right.
that was that massive war, right, between two families over a kingdom.
Exactly. And Ashwatthama, well, let's just say he made some bad choices.
He was on the losing side.
Yeah. And he was cursed with immortality for trying to kill an unborn child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Pretty intense, his punishment. To wander the earth for like 3,000 years, witnessing, all the darkness of the Kali Yuga, a spiritual dark age, sort of.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Now we fast forward all the way to 2898 AD, and his path crosses with the prophecy of Kalki.
Okay.
He becomes the protector of Sumathi.
Kalki's mother.
You got it.
So it's like he's got the second chance, all tied to Kalki.
Right.
And where does the God King you mentioned fit into all this?
Ah, yes, the Supreme Yaskin.
Right.
He's the ruler of this last remaining city on Earth, desperate for immortality.
Naturally.
Of course.
Typical God King.
He's found a way to, extend his life
That's
using the search.
retracted from unborn children.
You guessed it. Pretty dark stuff.
So we've got a cursed warrior seeking redemption, a prophecy about a child savior, and a villain who's basically like a life-stealing tyrant.
That's a lie.
Who's the hero in all of this? Is it Kalki?
Yeah. Well, Kalki hasn't been born yet, remember?
Right.
Our hero is Raya, a young rebel disguised as a boy
Okay.
who teams up with Ashwatthama to protect Sumathi. And, get this, the cast is unbelievable. Amitabh Bachchan plays Ashwatthama.
No way. He's like a
Huge. A legend, exactly. And it gets better.
Oh.
Kamal Haasan plays the Supreme Yaskin. Talk about a villain you'll love to hate.
Wow, the casting is incredible so far.
Yeah. And we can't forget Prabhas.
Oh.
He's playing two roles, a bounty hunter named Bihaiba and another character named Karna, who's like a reincarnation from the Mahabharata.
So it's like they took all the biggest names in Indian cinema
I know, right?
and put them in one movie.
Yeah.
From the trailers, it looks insane visually. The cityscapes.
The vehicles.
Yeah, like futuristic, but kind of run down.
The cinematographer, Georgi Stoyakovich, really captured the scale of this world. You've got those futuristic elements, but also that sense of decay, hinting at the world's history.
Oh, and I have to mention the music. Have you heard the Bhairava anthem?
Of course.
It gave me chills.
Yeah, it's amazing how Santosh Narayanan blended those traditional Indian sounds with like futuristic electronic elements.
So cool, right?
It really reflects that clash between the ancient and the modern. Like the whole movie's built around that idea.
So we've got this mind-blowing plot,
An amazing cast.
stunning visuals, and this epic soundtrack.
It's a lot.
It's no wonder it's like making news globally. They even presented it at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of an Indian film getting that kind of attention?
It's pretty rare.
But with all this hype, I've heard people say the story might be too complex. For people who, don't know a lot about Hindu mythology,
Right.
the CGI in action, maybe it's a bit overwhelming.
That's a good point. Is it
Yeah.
sacrificing a compelling narrative for spectacle? Or can it, pull off this balancing act? It's tough.
Yeah, definitely something to consider. We'll have to unpack all that after the break.
Looking forward to it. So you mentioned some critiques about the movie.
Yeah, like some people are saying all the CGI might be a bit much,
Like it might actually take away from the story.
Yeah, I get that. It's like when there are explosions and spaceships everywhere,
Right.
you kind of forget about the characters.
Exactly. And then there's the whole like complexity of the story.
Right.
You've got ancient curses, time travel, prophecies.
Reincarnation.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. Even for someone who, knows a bit about Hindu mythology.
Yeah, it's like they just throw you into this world and expect you to keep up.
Right. And for some people, that's exciting.
Yeah, I could see that.
But for others, it's just overwhelming.
Like, it's like trying to understand a conversation
Yeah,
when you've missed the first half.
exactly. So the question is, how well does the film, bridge that gap for people who aren't familiar with all of this? Right. Can you enjoy it, even if you don't know every detail of the Mahabharata, for instance?
Well, from what I've seen, it has things that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, the action looks
Oh, the
amazing.
visuals are incredible.
Like, you don't need to be a mythology expert to appreciate a good fight scene.
Right, there's that visceral thrill to those action sequences. It
Right.
transcends culture.
But at the same time, there are some deeper themes in there.
Yeah.
Philosophical stuff.
Right, and those might be a little harder to grasp if you don't have the background.
So it's like there are different levels to the film.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You can enjoy it on the surface level with all the action,
Right.
but then there's this whole other level
Yeah.
where it's exploring these really complex themes rooted in Hindu mythology.
Exactly. And it's really up to the viewer,
Right.
which level they want to engage with.
Right. If you just want a fun, action-packed movie, you'll probably love it.
But if you want to go deeper, you might need to do a little research beforehand.
It's like watching a movie with subtitles.
Ooh, good analogy.
You can follow the main plot,
Yeah,
but you miss some of the nuances if you don't speak the language.
exactly. And that's why it's so important to, approach films like Kalki 2898 AD with an open mind.
Be willing to learn something new.
Exactly. You don't have to be an expert, but a little curiosity goes a long way.
It's like movies can be a window into different cultures, right?
Absolutely.
Even if you don't get every detail, it's still enriching to see something new.
And in this case, it's starting conversations about Indian mythology, which is amazing.
So it seems like it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Some things are universally appealing,
Uh-huh.
and some things need a little more understanding.
It's trying to balance spectacle with substance,
Mhm.
global appeal with cultural specificity.
Right. But even with all that, you can't deny that it's a huge achievement for Indian cinema.
It really is.
Pushing boundaries, taking risks,
Reaching a global audience.
like we haven't seen before.
It's a bold experiment.
Maybe it's the start of a whole new wave of myth-infused sci-fi films.
That would be cool.
But before we get carried away with the future, let's talk about the music for a bit.
Oh, yes. Santosh Narayanan's score is fantastic.
It's like the music is telling its own story alongside the movie.
It really is.
Remember that Bhairava anthem we talked about?
Yeah.
It starts with that chant
Mm-hmm.
and then builds into this epic track, like ancient mythology meets futuristic techno.
And the whole soundtrack does that, really.
Yeah.
It mirrors the movie's narrative structure.
Yeah, you've got the quiet moments with the sitar and tabla,
Right.
and then these bursts of energy with electronic beats and synths.
It's like you're in this futuristic world,
Yeah.
but you can still feel the echoes of the past.
Exactly. The music isn't just background noise, it's part of the storytelling.
Absolutely.
It amplifies the emotions, the action, even foreshadows things.
It's really impressive how much thought went into it.
Yeah, it's not just a bunch of songs, it's like a musical journey that
Yeah.
goes perfectly with the movie.
It shows his talent as a composer.
And not just the music itself, but how it's used in the film.
The timing, the transitions.
It all adds up to this incredible experience.
Yeah. It's clear they worked hard to make the music a part of the film.
And it really paid off. It's like a sonic landscape that's as epic as the movie itself.
It really is.
Okay, we've talked about the plot, the characters, the visuals, the critiques, even the music.
It's been a lot.
But there's one more thing we need to talk about.
The box office.
Yeah. It's like the elephant in the room.
It's a fascinating part of this whole thing.
Over 1,100 crore. It's insane.
A tsunami of success.
What do you think caused this global appeal?
Well, first of all, the cast is huge.
Right.
Amitabh Bachchan, Kamal Haasan, Prabhas,
Deepika Padukone.
they all have huge fan bases globally.
It's like a superhero team of Indian cinema.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not just the cast.
The marketing was amazing too, right?
Oh, yeah. Those trailers, those teasers.
They focused on the visual.
The skit.
And then going to Comic-Con.
That was genius.
It got everyone's attention.
It put the film on the map internationally.
It's like this perfect storm,
Yeah.
star power, great marketing, and a visually stunning film.
And that global interest in Indian cinema is growing.
Yeah, it's not just Bollywood anymore.
Kalki 2898 AD proved that Indian films can compete globally.
Even with a story based on ancient mythology.
Right.
And it's opened the door for more ambitious films.
Definitely. It's a watershed moment.
Wow, we've covered so much today.
We have.
From the plot
To the music.
to the global impact.
A fascinating deep dive.
But we need to wrap things up now.
Okay.
Before we go, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Right.
Do you think Kalki 2898 AD is just a one-time thing?
Or the start of something bigger.
Like a new era for Indian cinema?
Where mythology and
For
technology
global appeal,
have come together.
it's a big question.
It is.
Maybe Kalki 2898 AD is just the beginning.
The tip of the iceberg.
Who knows what other stories are out there waiting to be told?
The future of cinema is exciting.
So if you haven't seen Kalki 2898 AD yet,
Check it out.
what do you think? Is it a masterpiece?
Or something else.
Let us know.
And until next time,
Keep exploring
keep questioning.
and keep diving deep. You know, it's pretty cool to see this whole blend of mythology and sci-fi popping up more and more.
It is, yeah.
Like, it's not like Kalki invented the idea,
Right.
but it feels like a big step forward, you know?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we've seen, like, mythological creatures in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Norse gods in Marvel movies.
Right, but this feels different.
This is different.
It's like specifically grounded in Hindu mythology.
Yeah, it's not just like borrowing a creature or a god here or there.
Exactly. It's like the whole story is woven from these Hindu epics.
The scripture.
It's like seeing those stories come to life in a new way.
Yeah. And imagine the possibilities, right? Like a sci-fi epic based on the Ramayana
Whoa.
set in space.
That would be amazing. Or like a dystopian thriller with Egyptian gods.
So many options.
I think what's really exciting is that it lets filmmakers explore these like universal themes.
Good versus evil.
Destiny, humanity.
But through this fresh lens, you know?
It's like taking these ancient stories that have been around forever
Yeah.
and giving them this modern spin.
While still honoring, you know, the original wisdom.
And it's clearly working. I mean, look at how well Kalki is doing.
People love it.
People want these kinds of stories.
The familiar mixed with the fantastical.
Ancient and futuristic.
It speaks to something deeper, I think.
Yeah.
That desire for stories that connect us to, like, our roots.
Our shared humanity.
In a world that's so dominated by, you know, technology.
Globalization.
These myths give us a sense of grounding.
Like a sense of continuity.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive on Kalki 2898 AD,
It's been a journey.
I think we can all agree it's more than just a movie.
Yeah.
It's like a cultural phenomenon.
It sparked so many conversations.
About storytelling, mythology, the future of cinema.
It's exciting.
It's really made us think.
It has.
And I'm excited to see where this all goes.
Me too. What other worlds are out there?
What stories are waiting to be told?
The possibilities are endless.
Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
If you haven't already, definitely check out Kalki 2898 AD.
Form your own opinions.
Let us know what you think.
And until next time,
Keep exploring
keep questioning.
and keep diving deep.